Welcome to the 1878 FM podcast. I do believe it's episode 10. So there you go. Goes very quickly. It goes very quickly. Even I'm trying to be positive today, the day after Everton. I've once again exited the Carabao Cup before Christmas. It's a thing there's a consistency there, Dave, that sometimes has to be admired. That you try to get out this competition as quickly as you can every year. I think that's sometimes you've got to say they're doing well to keep that up.
Well, as we said before, it's just like watching the same shit film over and over again. And you know what's going to happen. And as you say, they do have the consistency at least to never, I was going to say never let us down. I mean, they did let us down hugely, but you know what I mean in terms of what we probably expected. I didn't fancy this last night at all. No. I really didn't. I mean, there has to be a complete bounce back on Saturday. Yeah, there has to be. Although I don't know, I'm just not feeling very confident with this squad of players. Full stop at the moment. And I don't just mean on the back of that result last night. I think just generally.
We'll
wobbly.
We'll go back over last night, but we'll do very, very, very briefly Saturday as well. But I was glad I wasn't here on Monday to do the preview for it, because going into this week, I'm normally quite upbeat, and I didn't fancy us at all this week in either game, and it's just because just right now the attacking side of our game is so lacking that it's especially I knew last night, because obviously we knew we'd changed the back four. It was going to be more so that we had to defend even better than we have been doing, with lads who haven't been playing them. And if you take last night in isolation, 11 changes, lads who haven't been playing, don't play together. Some haven't played since the first day of the season back in August. It's not hard to see a performance like you saw from Everton last night. Now the problem is, or rather you see other teams doing this, like Brentford went out to Gillingham, same kind of thing, made changes, no rhythm, but they still had 6 of their first team. For us, we can't. I just don't think we're in that position. Maybe we can change that many players. And what gets other teams out of trouble a little bit, I think, when they make a lot of these changes, is their attacking players are still decent and are able to win games for them. Ours,
but the thing is, the thing is, Barry. Though, sorry to interrupt. The thing is that, and this is something that Ped said in his player ratings, it's the fact that you can look at people like Tom Davies coming in, or you can look at whoever coming in. You can look at Michael Keane coming in, saying they've not played for ages. They're bound to be, they train all week. They have to be ready. This is the whole. I mean, we made Bournemouth look like Man City last night. Yeah. Genuinely, I mean, Bournemouth. It looks so easy for them to cut through us for the most part, and just shambolic. And there was just so many players who just didn't look up to it at all. And I don't know whether that's form or attitude, or I don't know what it is. But I'm with Ped on this. They're professional footballers. They train all week. They have to be ready, and if their opportunity comes, they have to take it. And you would have thought that actually, when you are a fringe player who's not getting into the side on a regular basis, wouldn't you have thought that you would have the desire and the impetus to come in and absolutely play out your skin, to prove what you have, to prove your fitness, to prove your ability, and to try and give the manager something to think about, and arguably most of those fringe players gave the manager, and indeed those who were occupying their positions ordinarily, nothing at all to think about and nothing at all to worry about.
I think the issue is, for a lot of those players have had their chance in the first team and are on the way out. Whereas when you watch other teams, and probably Bournemouth last night, they're players who are fighting, feel like they've got a chance, or are on the way up, who were young kids or whoever. Most of that team last night are gone. Michael Keane probably should never play for Everton again. He probably won't, will he? He was abysmal.
He wants to go anyway, doesn't he?
You know, Holgate, Mina, Tom Davis, I thought was absolutely woeful. There's probably more. You know, the only one, the likes of, I thought like Vinagre did all right, standing a few decent crosses up, and you could see him and say, he's one who's actually trying to get. I don't think he's good enough, but he's definitely trying to get into the first team. With the other ones, we're just going through the motions, and you've got to look at the first to the manager and say, well, not putting the blame on him, but did you really need to make 11 changes for this game? Did you really need to, with one game left? James Garner, I think, did all right, and I think he probably got taken off because he'll play on Saturday.
Yeah.
That's probably why he got taken off. I know a lot of people will and probably Anthony Gordon, the same, I imagine, as well, will probably play Saturday, and that's probably why he got taken off, even though he deserved to be dragged off. But they
should have been sent off.
He should have been sent off. But they're all players on the way out. I think that's always seems to be the case when we play in this trophy as well, is that there's no one fighting. There's no one fighting to get into the team. There's no youngsters who are on the edges fighting to get into the team, and it always seems the same. And you've got to question a football club that doesn't actually want to win trophies. That mentality is, we don't really care about winning trophies. You make 11 changes with one game before a 6-week break. What does that tell the fan base? What does that say?
Well, 3 were enforced, weren't they? 3 of them were out injured.
You know, but what does that say to all the people who go to the game? You've made 8 changes.
Were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised because I know what the mentality is. I know, but we need to get away from this thing of, are you surprised? I want to be surprised by Everton Football Club actually trying to do something, to be serious about something. Everton had an opportunity last night if they'd put out a few more first teamers to actually just roll Bournemouth over, get into the next round of the cup, and then look forward to Saturday without too much of hassle. But now all they've done is caused more panic, more fear, more worry, and more doubt to Frank Lampard, and they've brought that on themselves. It's as simple as that, and they didn't have to. With a 6-week break, you didn't have to do that last night. Not at all. You didn't have to go to 3 at the back. Didn't have to go to wing backs. Didn't have to bring, half the team changing and bringing a back 3 of Holgate.
But what in your opinion? What was the reason behind making that many changes? Was it because you thought, or they think that it will give them a better chance at the weekend? Is it also because they don't value that cup competition?
I think
in any real form, or is it a bit of both?
I think a bit of both, Dave. I think ultimately the manager looks at it and is like, my job's to keep Everton in the Premier League, and that's all his job is. And probably they look at it and think, we're not going to win this trophy because there's Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Spurs. We're not going to win this trophy, so we might as well put a second. And what the manager said was probably right after the game. He was like, well, that team's got loads of experience, and that team really should have won. But like you said, Dave, you put 11 players together on a Wednesday night, and loads of them haven't played for ages. That's always going to be the result. Always going to be. It shouldn't have been that result, but that's always going to be tough. But very disappointed in some of the players. Like I said, the likes of someone like Tom Davis, who could be called upon to play on Saturday. If, Garner or Onana are not fit, then you've done nothing for your cause last night. Absolutely nothing.
No, but I said this myself in the aftermatch thing, is that, and this is before I'd heard Frank Lampard, you will have had players who will have been moaning to him about playing games of football. You will.
Yeah, he said himself.
The likes of Michael Keane, all day. I said this. These players have given him nothing to think about.
And against Bournemouth as well, with the greatest respect to Bournemouth, but if the likes of Tom Davis or Yerry Mina or Michael Keane or any of these cannot look like good Premier League professionals against that kind of opposition, then we've got a problem.
Who've made changes themselves, Bournemouth,
who had also made changes themselves. Exactly, they weren't a full strength.
Bournemouth are a championship side.
I know, and but I have to go back to. Sorry, I feel like I'm quoting you all the way through this, Ped. I have to go back to what you said just then, because isn't this a sad state of affairs that not only is the mood how we are, but you said Frank Lampard's job is to keep Everton in the Premier League. Now that alone is a statement.
Shocking, isn't it? Yeah.
And you're not wrong. But isn't that a horrendous state of affairs that we're talking about the fact that the primary objective is to not get relegated, which is normally the primary objective of clubs coming up to try and stay in this thing. Yet the reality is that we are facing another season of looking at over our shoulders. We know we're going to be in the same situation again, I think.
And the sad thing is, it always does turn very quickly, doesn't it? I didn't fancy us on Saturday against Leicester, to be honest. I thought we'd get bounced 4-0, if I'm perfectly honest. I had a terrible feeling about that game. And, it played out.
I haven't even mentioned that one yet.
No, and it played out in that way, because I just thought against a team that could score goals, against a team that can't score goals, there's only going to be one winner, isn't there, really? And that's how it played out. And that's I think that's the fear now that is sort of, well, it is seeping into the fan base, is that this team can't score goals. 2 shots on target last night. 2 sitters, Tom Davis and Anthony Gordon. 2 absolute sitters. Gordon's is just as bad, though.
I know, but Davis, when you see through behind the goalie lays down.
No, I know, but all he has to do is just head it on target. They're both woeful. And they're not even on target. Obviously we've had the goal, but that's the state of affairs. 2 shots on target against a Bournemouth second string team that who've lost the last 4 games, by the way, their first team, and their second string team rocks up and we can't hit the target more than twice. That's horrendous, and it doesn't matter how good you are at the back. If that continues or something doesn't happen at the club in terms of bringing people in, there's only one place we're going. Because you know what? Burnley had a good defensive record last season. Their defensive record was sound last season. Couldn't score goals. Went down, and that's ultimately what as you're saying, that's what Frank Lampard's job is now. And I mean, don't get me, if Saturday we could get 3 points, that would be huge, because the table would look a lot better and it'd give us all that little bit of confidence. But I don't think anyone actually feels like that's reality at the moment.
No.
I mean, Saturday was we made changes to the way we played rather than the personnel, and Leicester just picked us off.
Maddison was superb.
He was, but Dave, you would have been superb because we just give him all the space. They had the real threat was James Maddison. With given space, he can shoot and he can pick a pass. And what we did really well against Crystal Palace, we had Onana and Guy sitting deeper, and it freed up Iwobi, which meant we almost played like a 4-2-4 against Palace, and they couldn't cope with us. And then on Saturday, he just left Garner on his own and pushed the other 2 up, and the other 2 were just totally ineffective. Onana was loping around. I mean, he said he was injured afterwards. Fair enough, maybe that contributed to it. But if he was that injured that he couldn't compete, he shouldn't have started, really. And they picked us off because we were just all over the place. And the real issue is, and we keep saying it week in, week out, without the goal threat, there's only so long you can keep a team out for. We can't keep asking Pickford to keep, to make save. We can't keep asking Tarkowski and Cody to throw themselves in the way of shots in the hope that, Leicester left Goodison on Saturday with 22 attempts at goal.
Yeah.
to our 12. No away team should ever at Goodison Park be allowed anywhere near that amount of attempts at our goal, ever. It should be the other way round. They shouldn't be able to get out of their own half at home. You know, and that's something we've got to address.
But we're totally toothless up front. That's the problem.
But you know what, Dave?
We have
one.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, I was looking at Leicester. I was speaking to the lad who's sitting next to, and it was both defences I thought were awful on Saturday. I thought we were really poor and we haven't been, and they were terrible as well. Neither team could play out from the back. They didn't have a clue, either of them. But they pressed better than we did, so it showed up more. But when they broke, and Bournemouth did this last night with much inferior players, when they broke, they got bodies into the box. You know, when they scored their second goal, there's 3 of their players in our box.
Yeah.
And yet, hardly ever did Everton have 3 players in Bournemouth's box. And that was the same on Saturday. And it's one thing, we can sit here and bemoan having no Richarlison. We can bemoan having no Dominic Calvert-Lewin because he's not fit. Or whatever. We are left with what we're left with at the moment. So the biggest thing for me, which is not much to be fair, and certainly in terms of goals, it's absolutely nothing. Yeah. But the one way then that other teams have seemed to be able to negate that in terms of getting goals is making sure that you flood the box with your players, then you mightn't have a natural player that's going to go, I can get you 20 goals this season. But if 4 or 5 of you are in the penalty area when you're putting crosses in, one of you might get on the end of it and put it in. Whereas we just isolate whoever our striker is. And I don't know whether when you sign a contract as a manager, you're told to play one up front and make sure there's nobody anywhere near him. Because this has been going on year after year after year, hasn't it? We've had it happened with years ago with Yakubu, and then although Moyes' team was much better, but since Moyes left, Ron was isolated. We've gone through, and Calvert-Lewin's been isolated. Wayne Rooney, when he was up there, was isolated. We tried other strikers. We're always
no bravery, is there? There's no bravery in the team at all.
None.
There's no bravery to join up and get men forward and push on. And to be honest, I was thinking about this, and someone mentioned like the style of play and what we like and what we don't like. Well, I looked at a team on Saturday and I looked at a team last night with no bravery in it, and the two different sides, but no bravery to flood men forward, join up, get tackles in, be strong, be solid. Where was that? Against
the Tim Cahill mentality. That's what we're missing.
Yeah, but against Palace, we had a little bit of that. We started really well, and we flooded forward, and we were always on the front foot, and we were aggressive. And in the last couple of games, and second half against Fulham, that's just melted away to the
cautious again,
just the cautious approach. And how's caution going to help when you can't score goals? The mentality now is, just defend for our lives. That's not going to be enough this season. And whether that's the players, whether that's the managing, the coaches telling the players to do that, I don't know. But it's going to turn. I mean, this break is going to come at the very best time possible.
Yeah.
But if Everton don't get a positive result on Saturday, then I really fear for Frank Lampard, because I don't. The thing is, I'll be honest with you, I don't think fans will do what they did last season.
Don't you?
I just don't. I just don't think there'll be I just think what we had last season to save the team will be replaced by pure anger this year. It's happened again. That it's happened again. I know in the 90s we saw this in a way. When 94 was the joy of staying up, and in 98 become absolute, there was a real anger, and then that was 4 years apart. Go back to back, doing it back to back.
Do you also think as well, because obviously last year a lot of people were kind of like, well, this is nothing to do with Frank Lampard kind of thing.
Yeah, he'd inherited a problem, hadn't he? And he'd come off the back of a load of mistakes, and people thought, you know what, he's doing his best.
Mm-hmm.
But now, as you say, it's a different situation. He's had more time in the seat. He's had more opportunity to change the squad, change the playing style. And as you say, unfortunately, what happens this season will be on his shoulders. And I want to see him do well. And I would like to see him here at the end of the season and into next season. And I'd like to see him leading us into our new stadium. But I'll be honest with you, at the moment, I think that's highly unlikely.
I feel for him in a way, because I feel like it's two different jobs, isn't it? One, the end of last season was just a pure firefighting exercise. And then obviously coming back for this season, he's not been given what he wanted. I mean, let's get it right. The club allowed the first 5 games to come and go without a striker, and that's on them. They basically just went, first 5 games don't matter. So I'm sure he wanted a striker. He wasn't given one till and then Leeds, and then we had the thing because it was a bank holiday and all that. So the first 5 games passed without a striker. We looked absolutely toothless. And then since then, it's been trying to get Dom back, and what can we do? But we just have nothing about us. And the big thing, and I've said this loads of times, and it was horrifying last night, it's the set pieces. They're horrendous. Why aren't you working on them night and day?
Defensively, we're so much better off them. But offensively, we're poor, aren't we?
We're horrendous. There was one last night in the first half, and they went short, and I think it ended up with Tom Davies kicking it out for a throw-in, or it nearly going out for a throw-in for them. And you're just like, why have we not got a formula of a ball in the box and a couple of the big lads running across? It's like, how does that happen? You're struggling for goals, and yet your set pieces are woeful. And I look at little things like that and think that is so poor. That to me, really poor.
I think as well, when you're looking at it, is, you know, in terms of the manager, I think there has been improvements. I think you look at his best team, and I think it's not that bad. But it is light in the final. The thing about it is, there's players when you look at it, I think like the keeper's fine. I think the defence is sound. I think the midfield isn't too bad. I think the midfield's decent, actually, especially when it's proved that. But higher up you go, and it's not that these players aren't good footballers, but the fundamental thing in that final third is goals. So you might be a really good winger, or you know, you might be like a nice footballer or whatever, but if you can't put the ball in the back of the net, which wins you games, you're going to struggle. And the reason is, I've said this before, if you've got a winger on one side that is capable of getting double figures, and you've got a centre forward who's capable of getting 15, and a midfielder who's capable of getting 6 or 7 behind you, then your other winger might be one who only gets 4 or 5, but he's creative and he's... You know, we had it with Pienaar. Stephen Pienaar hardly, and I know I'm rolling back the years here, but Stephen Pienaar didn't score a lot of goals. But he's very, very, very creative. But we had other players in that team, the likes of Cahill, who did get goals, and strikers who did get goals. And therefore, when you're looking at a Stephen Pienaar, it's not a big glaring thing that he doesn't score goals. But right now, Everton's front...
Oh, he's part of the mix, isn't he?
But Everton's front three, Dave, now is our main goal scorer in that squad isn't fit, and he's not going to be fit on Saturday. Lampard said I'd be amazed if he's fit or something along those lines. Neil Maupay, bless him, isn't a big goal scorer, and we don't create any real chances for the kid anyway. And at times last night he was on the wing, looked like he wasn't even a striker. And our wingers don't get goals. So, and our midfielders don't score goals. So you can set up a structure and go, this team isn't bad, but without goals, it's not going to go anywhere anyway.
The positive for me, I mean, aside from the two young lads coming on, Stanley Mills and Tom Cannon, which was good to see, and obviously bodes well for the future. But the risk is stating the obvious. With the goal from Damari Gray, which he took well, at least... It was because he's a player that we've criticised a lot in terms of actually not having the right end product and consistency, but also that decision making right at the end and not being clinical enough, not being ruthless enough, you know, sort of petering out like so many of them do. And it was good to see him not mess around last night, get his opportunity. Yeah. He came on, he hit the ground running, he scored a fantastic goal, and he was straight into the game. You know, as opposed to so many other players.
Put a couple of great crosses in and no one gambled either.
Yeah. And so that was one positive. But there just needs to be more of it.
No, you're right.
Unfortunately, you know, we also suffered from the situation we've had many times before. And I hate to single people out, but I always think about Michael Keane when I sort of say this in terms of that thing about your heads going down. You know, he's a real player he's always been a confidence player, or rather a lack of confidence player for me. You know, I've seen him time and time again where you see him coming out the tunnel and you kind of go, he's not right. He's really not right. I'm not saying he's not a good footballer. He's not a capable centre half. I think it's all, and I take no pleasure in saying this, I think it's all upstairs. You know,
the mental side of it, yeah.
I think so. And as I say, I take no pleasure in that, you know, but heads went down and it was just made to be very, 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 very easy for, as you say, a second string Bournemouth side.
The first 2 goals were calamitous, weren't they? The first one loops off a defender and it's the underside of the bar and goes in. And the second one, we slip over and then, to be honest, even the third one, the keeper's got to do better for me. Yeah, but there you go. That was Everton bounced out of there following that Leicester thing, and it's food for thought. The manager looked quite pissed off really afterwards, saying, "Well, players who are moaning, you can't moan now, can you?"
No,
you know, that's what I'd be saying. I'd be saying, you've come to me all week going, why aren't I playing? Well, there's your chance, and you've done nothing. So don't moan when you're not back in the side. You can't moan about it. You had your opportunity. You both said before, you train all week. You should be ready to hit the ground running when you're playing. You should be going, I'm going to show him he's a knobhead for not playing me.
Yeah.
And can any of them really walk off that pitch and go, I told you I should be in our first team. Anyone, you know, we got it back to went to 2-1, didn't it? And we had that, you know, Iwobi should really slip Maupay in round the corner. He's in on with the keeper and he tries a shot and it gets blocked. But other than that, we build, and then we concede a stupid third goal. And that's it. It's like you're done now from being, you know, 1-2 took us up. Michael Keane has dropped too deep. He's not in line with Yerry Mina, therefore the lad's miles onside. And it is that kind of thing. And sadly for some of those players, you can bitch and moan all you want, but when you get your opportunity, if you don't go and do it, like some of the Bournemouth players did. They might have 3 or 4 lads Saturday now going to Gary Neal. Well, Gary O'Neill, I should be in there. Or, you know, you can bring me on because look what I did the other night. Can any Everton player say that? I don't think so.
And if they're not, you know, if they're not ready to come in, you know, given their opportunity, especially those that started, it's not even like suddenly you're coming in cold off the bench or something. You know, it's not. I mean, you know, the greatest example of that, I suppose, is when you get a goalkeeping injury and you have somebody who is fully not expecting to play anytime soon. Yeah. You know, and is just there because they're contractually obligated. Then suddenly, you know, they're kind of like, oh Christ, you know, I'm actually on now. I've not done anything for 3 months. I'm actually on. It wasn't like that kind of situation at all, and it does obviously beg the question of what on earth they're doing at Finch Farm all week if they can't, you know, if they can't impress in that kind of situation. Tom Davies should have been doing everything.
He was disappointing because he has done quite well in the Premier League games that he's been involved in, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You know,
I was saying this last night.
Brilliant in the derby and things
he was
like
absolutely
that.
terrible, terrible. But, you know, when he started the season, he did
good.
all right. He's a player
I
think he's a player that you can drop into the first team and do a good job. But when he's sort of asked to be part of the also-rans, which he's one of them, he looks dreadful. And he always does. And that's where people jump on him. But obviously, he's not good enough. He's not good enough to be in the Everton side. And, you know, we've got to that point now where he's not good enough to go forward, take us forward. And neither is Decore, and neither is Michael Keane, and neither is Yerry Mina or Mason Holgate. And, okay, someone like Mason Holgate can be a filler and all that kind of thing, but they're not good enough. And that's where it's a fine line between, shouldn't the manager already know this stuff? And does the club really care about a trophy? And clearly they don't. And you know, I think if you understand that in a way, then you can go, well, fair enough. He had every right to give these players a go and rest them. And it ultimately just does come down to, he wants as many fit players as first team players as he can for Saturday, because he knows that's the bread and butter. Deep down he knows.
But us as fans, we're not sitting here moaning about the fact that, really, if you think about it, you're not sitting here moaning about the fact we've gone out of a cup competition. We could have won. We're all sat here concerned that we've got a Premier League game at the weekend that we may lose again. If we do, we're going into a 6-week break. And quite possibly could be in the bottom.
Deep down, we all know that's a trophy we're not going to win. I know a lot of people feel like that is a trophy you can win, but deep down, we all know we're not going to win that. And the manager knows that, and that's why he's played the team. And in reality, that team will look nothing like the team that starts on Saturday. It looked nothing like the team that started against Leicester. But it is that thing of just what runs through our football club.
It's a message as well.
But also, it's the message and it's the message and the attitude that it gives to Bournemouth as well. Because what a lift for them ahead of Saturday to kind of go, do you know what? I know it's going to be a largely different side, but in terms of the general confidence and feeling that they have nothing to worry about on Saturday. They will prepare for that. They'll know that they've got better players to come back, and they will do it all again. And they're not going to fear us in the slightest.
No. And what could have happened last night is we could have played 4 or 5 youngsters from the start, got beaten the same score, but we'd all be sitting here going, oh, he's got first team experience, oh look, now this kid is our youngest ever played and all that kind of thing.
I just thought he should have put the lads on earlier. That if I've got a criticism of Frank Lampard last night, is that he should have, and he put the 3, McNeil and Awout and that on to try to because he obviously wasn't impressed with what he was seeing, and he thought these 3 will shore us up a little bit. And maybe he did. We got a reaction, we got a goal, we could have maybe got an equaliser if Iwobi slips Maupay in. But I still would have got the other 2 lads on for longer as well, because once it went 3-1, it came over, wasn't it? But Let's move on from that anyway. That was quite depressing. I'm going to ask you this just because, and we don't have to really go on about the jungle, but the jungle is underway, right? And no, this the only thing I want to ask is, have you been watching, Dave, or not?
I've seen bits of it, yeah.
Okay, I could have predicted you were going to say that. But I just wanted to ask, did you see any of it last night? I made sure to watch it last night because I needed to get the footy.
The Babatunde?
Babatunde,
I thought that I thought in terms of somebody coming in and doing a challenge, especially a challenge which he was, by his own admission, terrified about doing because heights is his thing. Yeah. This was called Heights of Horror or something. I mean, the clue was in the title, or Horrifying Heights or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I thought he did brilliantly because he got every single star that he could have possibly got.
He did, and it was raining, mad raining, and he was
absolutely pouring with rain.
100 foot up on a little thing, right?
Should have stayed in Wales.
Yeah, that's what he said. He told us
the weather was
better weather in Wales. But me thing about he done really well. But because I seen something last night about the thing, and has he almost took the Jordan. What's Jordan North? Not Jordan, the other Jordan with the two up front, unlike Everton. As he took,
that's what we need.
Exactly what we need. The Jordan North route to success. So what I mean by that is day one, he's took to the top of whatever that building is.
Is he the one who bottled it on the first day?
He bottled it on day one, right? And to be fair, right, my missus was fuming with him because he didn't have a goal in the girls.
I'd have bottled that as well.
Jill Scott was awesome, was amazing, and she is amazing, to be fair to her. But I would have bottled it there because I'm terrible. I'd stand on this desk and start feeling wobbly, right? So fair play, I was like, no, but my hands were actually clammy watching it, which is mad, right? But he bottled it. Yeah. But then last night, he attacked the day like Phil Neville.
I understand.
Now I've seen people after he'd done it.
Tactical.
He's the winner now. He's the winner because he's overcome.
Oh, he's tactical.
Has he gone full tactical there?
Well, without
Jordan North
watching it, it does feel tactical. That you just explaining it to me, it feels like he's gone in there, gone. I'm gonna be king shit house.
Yeah.
But you're watching me bounce back, and there's an arc, isn't he? There's a
shit house.
I mean, fair play. It's the Jordan North playbook.
No, but there's a story arc there.
There is.
Someone who watches a lot of films, I can see the story arc.
Yeah.
Clearly, Boy George is going to be the bad guy in this story.
Boy George looks like the villain. A villain.
He does. He looks like a panto villain, doesn't he?
And,
I mean, he looks like you should boo him when he comes on.
And see, I thought the himbo. What's his name?
Owen. Now listen. He might Owen something. He's in Hollyoaks.
Hollyoaks, Romeo in Hollyoaks.
You wouldn't want him in your pub quiz team.
No, he can't be that stupid.
I'd want him lifting stuff.
He can't be that stupid.
The kids, he's got.
He can't. I mean, Paige, bless her, who comes in and does work for us. She is very much the same age and the same mentality.
Yeah,
you can tell that girl.
She was made up.
Anything. Yeah. And she
little bit gullible.
Like, honestly, Dave, I could tell her. I honestly could tell her anything. You could say you invented the internet, and she'd believe you. She would, honestly. She's that gullible, and at the minute
she's
saw
lovely.
her,
She's amazing.
No, she's an amazing human being. Yeah. But she is the most gullible.
Yeah.
She was the most gullible person till I saw him, and then I thought, "Are you for real? Is this a game you're playing?"
That could be a tactic. They could be playing.
But we'll see, because the jungle reveals all.
It does.
Do you know what I mean?
It does.
The truth.
He seems like he's a dead nice lad. This kid. He's come across as a nice lad. He's obviously, his abs are incredible. So fair play to him. He should be like that. It's his job. And he's done the shower scene early.
Credit where it's due.
Yeah.
He's done that.
And I don't think he's quite got the intelligence to be King Shithouse, by the way.
No,
you know
he can't. Boy George, BG, is he is a mixer. I mean, again, Dave, you might have seen bits last night, you might not, or say, but he was going on about how I'm going to forget the girl's name now, but one of the girls in there is doing the cooking.
It's quite easy to forget people's names in there, considering none of them are fucking celebrities.
No, but fair enough. But he was talking about her, saying she's dead contradictory. This is the fella that's saying, I won't be told what to do, and then has said to her, tell me what to do. We're like, hang on, you've just said you won't be told what to do, now you're asking. So you've got him. And then you've got Mike Tyndall, who, a Magic Mike. I mean, I thought that was something different.
He can rap. I'll give him that.
He can rap.
Yeah.
Last night, that absolute lunatic. They got in that RV thing. They got the keys to get in it, right? There's an RV in the camp, and it's been locked. And they got in it last night. Yeah. And he went in, and there's some stupid big huntsman spider that's about 43 foot. He just went over and got
but to be fair, though,
in his hand and walked out.
To be fair, he's a professional rugby player, right? Have you seen some of the things they get up to?
It's a spider.
They get like pictures with certain things while they're asleep in their mouths and all kinds.
He said that his worst injury was when he not only broke his ribs and punctured a lung, but he lacerated his liver.
Yeah,
lacerated.
And probably went on the ale.
And do you know what? The himbo said when he said that, he went, oh, his injuries were mad. He's lacerated his liver. I don't know what lacerated means, but it sounds bad.
Mike Tyndall has probably done worse things on tour.
Yeah, listen.
With the rugby team.
Listen.
Than anything that young. Plus, he's in the royal family.
Pussy?
He's in the royal family.
Oh, I thought he said pussy.
I was thinking pussy,
the royal
pussy.
family. The royal pussy.
He's in the royal family as well.
Been in that quite a lot.
He goes on the lizard mothership. You know, he's in all that.
Speaks really well as well. He's well spoken.
He seems like a sound enough. He's
a nice fella.
Do you know what I mean?
It was just the fact. I know what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. But the fact that they'll have done things that you'd see at maybe a Tory convention. You know,
honest to God,
they've had things in the mouth.
Dave will know this. He lives down south.
The fact he
the
just
things
picked the spider
rugby union players get up to, right? He's in the community. He knows. It's like
whoa.
Small village, like the Stepford.
I'm not in the rugby union community.
No. What I mean is
living south of Birmingham.
What I mean is you're in the community. I don't mean you're.
He's just called you a Stepford wife, Dave.
The community.
But listen, I've had worse reviews, Baz.
Not fair play. But he picked this spider up like he picked like you were picking a bit of litter off the floor. That was, nothing. And I was impressed with it because I hate spiders. And
did he pick it up like in the same way that Ped might pick up one of Loki's turds?
I think he picked it up with more grace than Ped would do that.
You've got to be quite gentle when you're picking up.
Yeah, you have. You'd have. We've got to
go everywhere.
We've done that before, haven't we? We've done that before. But no, I just thought the Babatunde. I thought, we should.
Do you think they go in with like an idea in their heads? Because obviously, they are almost when they get them in, they are given certain role. I don't mean given as in like do this for me, but the fact Boy George is earning more money than anyone else. Is basically because he's not like he's a mega celebrity, Boy George. Now, he has been. I mean, this is the fellow who's in the 18, for God's sake. The man was in the 18. Yeah. That's how big he was in the 80s.
Respect on his name.
But he's in there and he's getting paid more money than everyone else because they want him to be a bitch.
Yeah.
They want him to stir the pot. So they have all got like certain roles. Jill Scott's in there. She's not massively famous, but they've seen she's got a bit of personality from the Euros. Afterwards, she was singing and stuff on the stage, and she could be like an up and coming, and people will warm to her. She's a dark horse for this, by the way.
She is.
She's a dark horse for this.
She's dead straight.
See, I don't agree. I think she's one of the top. The bookies' favourites already. Her.
Oh, is she? No, I thought you were going to say that, Dave, because you work in the industry. So
no, because I was on Paddy Power like 10 minutes ago having a look at the.
Well, no, she is now. No, she is now, of course, because she's going to be the new Queen of Hearts.
She was after the first episode.
But beforehand, I wonder whether how many people actually would have known her. The minute you're on TV and I'm a celebrity, you're famous for being on I'm a celebrity, aren't you? Straight away, there's that many people watch it.
They made the ball last night. She was juggling it. She was like, "I need to kick a ball." It was dead funny, like, and she's having a game with the kid. I can't even. I need to.
Owen.
That's it. Owen.
What's it? Owen something.
Owens. Well, we don't need the same. We'll just call him Owen.
Stimbo.
You can't. That's a bit. I mean, that's a bit harsh. We'll call him Owen. But yeah, no, it was interesting. And obviously we've got Matt Wancock going in tonight.
See, this is why I can't. I don't know if I can watch
he's going to get destroyed.
No,
I'm literally downloading the app just to vote for the knob.
I know, but the other thing is though, right? I don't know if anyone has this, but I can't necessarily watch things. Also, even if people are terrible and I don't like them, I find it really like cringy watching people like I watched Have I Got News for You on Friday night, and Gary Neville was on it, and I was squirming for Gary Neville. I get embarrassed on behalf of other people. It's a weird thing, but so I can't like sit there. No, like when you have prank shows and all that.
No,
I
I know,
can't watch anything like that because
my missus is a bit like
I
that.
squirm on other people's behalf, and even though I despise the man for everything he's done, I don't know if I can sit there and watch him get that.
I just watching.
No joy in that.
No, I know. Well, just listen. It is what it is. But he's on and I watch it, so it's something.
I'm not even allowed to. I mean, I know that there isn't technically a language policy on this broadcast, but I can't even use the word.
Well, don't use anything other than don't be derogatory, Dave. Just say whatever in a nice way.
Can't say it in a nice way.
He's got Dave.
Don't say it then.
Other than me and you, Dave, Dave's actually got a career.
Yeah.
I'm not. Well, loosely.
Listen, it is what it is with him. The other fella, I didn't know who he was. Who's coming in? Is it Sean? Someone?
Oh, Sean Walsh. Now, right. Do you want me to tell you about Sean Walsh?
Is he the
Sean Walsh?
Isn't he the one
fella
who had a little?
So he's a comedian who he went into Strictly. Supposedly, this is from what I don't know the guy, but this is what we were all told.
Okay.
He went into Strictly and he had a long-term girlfriend.
Right.
And then he may have fallen foul to the Strictly curse, and he may have had potentially, rumor would suggest, something of a thing with his dance partner, who I think was called Katia. And that then split up him and his girlfriend, according to press reports that I may have read.
It was very embarrassing as well.
I think I remember not him, but I remember the furore.
So obviously the first thing he's going to be asked when he gets in there is did it happen, and he's got to say that in public.
See the problem?
Blah blah blah.
That gets rid of it, doesn't it? The problem you've got with the Strictly case, right? And, I turned it down this year. I think I'd have been okay. Now the problem you're gonna have on that really is they spend so much
it's
time
like the Hollywood thing, isn't it?
With those people every day in very close proximity.
Of course, doing
hand.
I mean, you can see how it happened.
Yeah,
who could resist Tony
100%.
Adams?
Tony Adams. I mean, last week, and I only know this because of Gogglebox, but he'd done a dance where he ripped his pants off. Apparently, I mean. And he's getting right into it. It's like, come on, Tony, you were the cap. And what's funny is the three lads are on there. Tristan, Tremaine and Trawain, or whatever they're called, the three
I like
T's.
them.
The funny lads, but one of them's like,
them.
oh, no, this is my captain. Yeah. And they're like, you can see them going, oh, Tony, no, because obviously he was the man, one at Arsenal, the hard man and all that. And
is the fake Ned still on Gogglebox?
Who's the fake Ned?
The fake Ned?
The lad who sits there with his girlfriend.
Oh, what
with the black hair, like from Manchester. It's fake Ned.
The lad from Blackpool, Pete, who's amazing, who sits with his sister.
Fake. Oh, is that his sister? Well, it is Sophie. It is Blackpool.
No, they are. Yeah. They're the best two. They are funny as anything.
You think he reminds you of Ned?
No, Ned was. Sorry, Dave. And then you come in. Ned was. There was a family on from Birkenhead. The dad, but the stepdad was German.
That was ages ago.
Yeah, but he never spoke.
Oh, the German fellow who voted Brexit.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Anyway, Dave, what were you going to say?
Right, do you know, so the ones that you're thinking of, Ped, interesting fact about them. So this is Thingy and Sophie.
Pete and Sophie.
Peter and Sophie from Blackpool.
Yeah.
And their uncle is Paul Chuckle.
Oh, well, what a lineage.
Look at
what
that.
A bloodline.
But that just goes back, because we've discussed Paul Chuckle on here.
And Ned is a bit of a Chuckle brother, so...
So, there you go. But I do like, they are really funny. They're funny. They're very sharp. Like,
I don't watch it, but I watch actual TV. That's the
thing that always gets me with Gogglebox is that I've become obsessed with the positioning of their sofas.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that you look at it, and obviously what they're trying to do is they're trying to make a nice convenient angle that you can have the family on an angle and you put them in a corner. Yeah. But often you look and you kind of go, well, that wouldn't work because you've got two sofas up against
especially them two.
Especially them two. You think, well, you'd never get into that room.
You can't get into the room.
And if they're backed onto a wall, there's not going to be much circulation. You're going to get damp.
No.
You're going to get damp. You know what I mean?
And if there's a radiator behind the thing, then it's
ruined. And you can't put some foil on it, like Edwina Curry said. To bounce
it out.
Yeah. And saying that, you don't put radiators on nowadays, do you? So
it's hot water.
What are they for?
Hot water bottle in the blanket.
What's they for? Buy a Toffee TV hoodie.
Yeah. There's a seamless link to that as well. Just before we finish, I just seen this mad story.
I love how we've gone from pure despair to talking about himbos and couch positions. Classic.
This is
classic pod.
Classic pod. Gwent Police have spent £40,000 on crime-fighting tuk-tuks.
Oh, yeah.
And the community feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. There's one. There is a...
Hang on. How does a tuk-tuk fight crime?
The three-wheelers are commonly used as taxis in Asia, are driven by officers and council ambassadors.
Where's this? Sorry.
This is in Gwent.
Yeah, I was going to say Gwent, because I imagine those things would be in someone's backyard and if it was in
I was going to
Liverpool.
say, if this is in Liverpool, that'd just be picked up and walked off with, wouldn't it? And London, I guess, as well.
Why would you... I mean, I can understand the value of them as a form of transportation in hot countries such as Southeast Asia. Why would you
Whoa. Sorry, Dave. Southeast Asia is not a country. I've got to pick you up on that.
Oh, I didn't... Okay, to be fair, I didn't say hot...
No.
Actually, I probably
Southeast Asia is a region of the world, Dave.
Countries
Come on.
like the ones in Southeast Asia is what I probably... I was being lazy.
If I hadn't pulled you up on it, someone would have.
You're pulling up a fella who was...
Born in Hong Kong.
Exactly.
In Asia.
And that's why I just wanted to sort the issue out.
You wanted to make sure that no one had to go with him.
Anyway, listen, back to me.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why you would... I can understand that when you're somewhere where you want to get around in your flip-flops and stuff and you want to go to the beach and they're a handy form of transport, why would anybody decide that they would be a good crime-fighting form of transport in Gwent or anywhere else? Because they're not fast.
No.
They offer no protection.
Again, yes.
You know, I don't really understand the... They're not even electric.
They're almost like a rubbish milk float.
Yeah.
In a way, aren't they?
Well, they haven't got milk on them, for a start.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But, you know...
all the most rubbish milk floats don't have milk.
No. But they are open in general.
Hang on, I just want to... But I also want to clarify this, because I know that there are tuk-tuks in Liverpool in use.
Yeah.
And I want to know whether... Dave in his rugby union community
as part of the Stefford Wives
have similar, because there are tuk-tuks in Liverpool which have like karaoke machines on them.
There are.
And you just get on them and like sing karaoke.
When I was in the Smoke the other week, there was loads going around there. And
why have you just constantly all 1960s?
That's it, mate.
When I was in the Smoke,
mate. There was
we all are gonna sing gang.
Walking down, giving it all
Dick Van Dyke. Come on, Murray, we'll jump into a fella.
Can I just, sorry, right, before I forget, right, we'll go. I have to tell you.
Go on.
The Dick Van Dyke story.
Go on.
Got a Dick I love Dick. It's
not
Dick.
a real Dick.
It's the only Van Dyke I like, to be fair.
I remember going to Southampton away years ago, and St Mary's hadn't long opened, and I was going with my mate Tony Byrne, who's from West Derby, and my mate Alan James, who's from Old Swan.
Do you know these people?
They're
by yours.
You know,
Andy Bush would expect you to know them.
Big Bernie.
Go on, Dave.
And so we're going the game, and we're trying to find somewhere to park, and there's no obvious place. And then there looks to be, you know, when they have like a little bit of wasteland, there was like a cement works or something like that right outside of St Mary's, and obviously what they'd done is they'd unofficially made this somewhere for, you know, sort of VIPs, club members, etc., but very much on the Southampton side. Yeah. So Tony drives in and winds down the window and kind of goes, "Excuse me, mate, can we poke it?" Desperately trying to hide his West Derby accent.
Yeah.
"Excuse me, mate, can we poke it?" And the guy fell for it, and he kind of goes, "Yeah," and he pointed him over there. And I just remember Alan just kind of saying, "What the fucking hell was that, Dick Van Dyke?"
That reminds me. If we're doing car park stories, let me do my car park story very, very quickly. It's not as good as that, but in 2000, me and a couple of mates went to see Oasis at the Reebok Stadium, as it was then. Yeah. And I had this Daewoo Matiz. It was tiny, but it was a brand new car. Yeah. And I parked it in the car park. So the Reebok was right next to this big car park and like an Asda and stuff.
Subway.
And I worked. I don't think we had Subway at the time, I think. But I worked on the railway, and when you work on the railway, you always have an orange vest in the back of your car. Okay. Don't ask me why. It's the law.
It's just law, yeah.
So we're parked in it. My mates, we've been there, and you know, you can imagine the traffic getting out, all coaches,
it's terrible bolting,
and everyone was on coaches or cars, and So my mate Bladder just gets in the back of the car, gets the orange vest on, gets out, and just starts doing all the traffic. And honest to God, it was like the Italian job. We got out of the car park in about 2 minutes.
And he jumps in the back.
He's properly doing properly, you know when you see the Americans doing it?
Yeah.
All the hand signals.
Spinning.
But all the buses got out the way for us. It was absolutely amazing.
Brilliant.
I mean, it's not as funny as Dave's, but it was
I'd say it's better.
Oh, it was amazing.
That's a good story.
I mean, it was just brilliant. Just watching me mate, like old battered orange vest, just navigating, and we're navigating between coaches, and they're all moving. Oh, it was super.
Well, I'm going to finish with the story. This is.
You were down in the smoke then, Baz.
No, forget. I've gone on to a car park story. You know, it's not technically a car park.
I want you to go back to your London story after this.
It wasn't that good, to be fair, but the London story, I'll finish it. The London story, we were there walking along by the bits, you know, that bit of London, heading towards Piccadilly, and this tuk-tuk went past. That was like the buzz in the 90s, the music blasting out. There was 2 people in the back. The fella just like spinning along like Kylie Minogue.
Oh, like Kylie, yeah.
All kinds of LED lighting all over
LED lighting? Wouldn't that be a
LED?
Wouldn't that be a health hazard?
Yeah, it would have been, especially with the.
No,
you've got LED and you've got the car
asbestos floor.
Yeah, and I wonder if you had to pay the congestion charge as well because you're right in the middle. Anyway, that went past. That was tuk-tuks. They are alive and well in the smoke as well. Forget that. Move on. So years ago, we went to watch Everton at Pride Park, and I got a car park pass. I was working there, so we got a car park pass at Pride Park, Derby. So we get in. I think Everton. Was it the game we won 4-3? No, we won 2-0. Yakubu scored. So we come out, and because I'd had the car park pass, they ushered us out slightly different way than we would have gone. But the
VIP lane.
Yeah, basically. And the team bus is in front of us. So we get to the top of this road, and the team bus goes left. And our driver goes, no, it's right. I don't know where they're going. So we go right. So the team bus is going back, obviously, to Merseyside, where obviously Everton is. Yeah. We went right, and after an hour and 20 minutes, we went back past Pride Park. We were going, and it was the days before Saturday night, so we're driving. I'm going, there's no signs for Liverpool. We come back, we could have just followed. I mean, it would have been sensible, surely, just to follow.
Basic navigation, turning left out of Derby would take you towards Merseyside, wouldn't you?
I just still followed the team coach.
We had a similar problem on, you know, when I did those the round the grounds things with chappers, and we did like the charity things.
Oh
we
yeah.
Around all the things, collecting a shirt and a ball and whatever like this years ago, and we'd just done Oxford, I think, and we'd done Oxford, and then we'd done Wickham, and then I think the next one was QPR. And so there's me and Chappers, our mate Neil, who was our producer, and then a lad called Roachy, who was a cameraman. Now, Roachy happened to be in the front, therefore, operating the sat-nav.
Classic
And his football knowledge was the least of all of us. And so he puts it in, it's all fine, blah, blah, blah. We get to the roundabout, having come out of Adams Park. Kind of going, is it heading north? Well, surely it's south, it's got to be. Why is it heading us north? But he'd put in, he couldn't be bothered to.
Don't say.
Yeah, you know where this is going, don't
Go
you?
on.
He put in Queen's Park. Queen's Park FC, right? Which was
classic Roachy.
Approximately 400 miles.
You play a Hampden Park?
Out of our way. Oh, anyway, we quickly rectified it, and we headed for Loftus Road, and all was fine.
You got into Shepherd's Bush.
Yeah.
There you go.
Where Loftus Road is. There you go. You know, just very quickly, you're confident for Saturday, Dave?
No.
Okay.
I'm not. You know,
Okay.
and I feel that a lot of damage has been done based upon last night in terms of the balance of confidence. I think it's massively skewed against us. I think our heads are going to be down, and I think they will be buoyant, and we have to work even harder to overcome that from the off.
Is a draw a decent result?
I'd be happy with a draw, yeah.
Okay, for you?
We need more.
No, we do.
Yeah. No, we need a win, but yeah, I suppose I'd just take a draw and then can't wait for 6 weeks. It's going to be like the most chilled out time ever.
You see, the thing is, I will be brief with this, the thing is, the bottom 10 have all got difficult games Saturday.
Yeah.
One
of them.
And Everton are one of them. No, that's what I'm saying. But therefore, I've seen someone say if Everton win, they could actually finish Saturday night in 11th position for the break.
Let's do that.
And that would be good.
Let's do
Going
that.
into the break in 11th, I think most of us should go, we're all right with that.
Let's do that.
But I think the issue of scoring goals is not inside the club. We've said that, and we have to get.
Because we'll look top of the table on the second page, won't we?
Exactly, and that's all. If you can, that maybe should be Everton's first goal. Be top of page 2. Maybe that should be the first marker that you aim for. And we'll see that as a victory. Who knows? We'll be back next week when we'll be discussing, hopefully, Everton victory.
Oh, where's Bush, by the way? We haven't even mentioned him yet.
Oh, the Bush is if you watch Extra Slice, he's interviewing that baldy fella off there, the little comedian, Tom Allen or whatever.
How do you know he's... Hang on, whoa, hang on.
Because I don't know him from
How
anything
do you
else.
know he's little?
He comes across as little. He probably towers over me.
across as little?
He probably towers over me.
How do you come across as little?
He looks... No, I'm with Baz as well.
Okay.
Now, as like you, Baz, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. And
No problem with
normally,
that,
ceiling beams don't bother me.
No.
I think one of these days we should try and get Bush to introduce us to Tom Allen, and we should have a lineup, and we should actually see how tall or not tall he is.
I think that's a good one, and then that's on you. Then shame on you if he's little like me and Dave.
Dave, what's the average size of your village?
You mean in terms of area?
Height, Dave.
Height.
Height,
Oh,
Dave.
height.
There can't be that many people who live in your village. Do you know them all by name?
I know most of them.
Is it like Postman
I
Pat?
know most of them.
No, what you should have said is they know.
They know me.
They
I'm
know
sure
me.
they do. I'm sure they do.
I know most of them.
Especially Sandra, who cuts his hair.
Sandra.
It's not Sandra.
What's her name again?
Gillian.
Sorry, Scottish Gillian. I should have known.
Scottish
that.
Gillian.
Glaswegian, yeah.
I should have
Fair
known.
play.
That. Right, big thanks to
There you
Dave,
go.
as always. I finished a lot more upbeat than it started, and I think that is what we do.
Maybe we should have started with the upbeat stuff.
No, because then everyone would have
No,
gone
then it
away.
would tail off.
No, but everyone would have switched off early.
Oh yeah, everyone's
That's
switched
not
off
how.
early.
That's not how it works. You have to keep the listener entertained
Okay.
and engaged.
I think it's always good to go out on the happy ending.
I think so. I think, Dave, I mean, it's something that many people who've gone to Asia have always stuck by.
Back to
saying
the tuk-tuks.
the same thing, I think. Tuk-tuk. And you can get them at all good massage parlours as well. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
idea.
Bye.
Bye.